Commander Zara Chen pressed her face against the cold metal of the observation deck, watching Earth's blue marble slowly rotate below. The quarantine stations had orbited her home planet for 300 years, silent sentinels keeping humanity locked away from the rest of the galaxy. She'd never seen Earth this close before. Beautiful, isn't it? The voice belonged to Councillor Thex, his towering crystalline form reflecting the starlight. His species, the Altarians, had been the first to discover humanity. They'd also been the first to recommend the quarantine. "Why am I here?" Zara asked, not turning from the window. She'd been pulled from her deep space mining operation without explanation, transported to this council vessel in the Sol system. "Because we need you," Thex said simply. "We need your species." Zara laughed bitterly. "Right. The same species you kept locked up like animals for centuries. The same species you said was too dangerous, too unpredictable, too emotional for civilized society." "Yes," Thex admitted. "That species." The briefing room fell silent as Zara finally turned to face the assembled council. Representatives from 12 different species sat around the curved table, their various forms creating a bizarre gallery of alien life. She recognized most of them from her xenobiology studies. The intellectual cerebrals with their massive craniums, the logical synthesis machines, the peaceful ethereals who existed partially in another dimension. All of them had voted to quarantine humanity. "Explain," Zara said, taking her seat. Councillor Vex, a cerebral, activated the holographic display. 6 months ago, we detected an anomaly in the outer rim. The Kithera system went dark. All communication ceased. We sent a reconnaissance fleet. The hologram showed a star system, then flickered to show emptiness. No planets, no stations, no debris. Just void. They are gone, Vex continued. Not destroyed. Gone, as if they never existed. "Space plague?" Zara asked. "Unknown, but it's spreading. 3 more systems have vanished. The Mordian Collective, the Nexus Trade Hub, and yesterday, the Zephyrian homeworld." Zara felt cold. The Zephyrians had been one of the most advanced species in the galaxy, masters of time manipulation and dimensional physics. If they couldn't stop whatever this was. "We've tried everything," said Synthesis Unit 7, its mechanical voice carrying an unusual note of distress. "Our greatest minds, our most advanced technologies, our combined fleets. Nothing works. We can't even study the phenomenon because any ship that gets too close simply vanishes. What makes you think humans can help?" Zara asked. The council members exchanged glances. It was Thex who answered. "Because you're the only species that's ever truly surprised us. Every other race in the galaxy follows predictable patterns. You don't. You're chaotic, irrational, and you do things that should be impossible." "You're calling us stupid," Zara said flatly. "No," Thex replied. "We're calling you desperate. And desperation drives innovation in ways logic never can." The hologram shifted, showing Earth surrounded by its quarantine stations. "We've been monitoring your species for 3 centuries. We've watched you create art from suffering, find hope in impossible situations, and solve problems by breaking every rule that exists. You've also been preparing for war this entire time." Zara raised an eyebrow. "War?" "Against us," Vex admitted. "Your military development has been concerning. You've created weapons and strategies designed specifically to fight enemies far more advanced than yourselves. Technologies that shouldn't work, tactics that defy conventional wisdom. We've been waiting for you to come kill us," Zara said. "Of course we prepared." "Yes," Thex said, "and now we need those preparations." The hologram showed a new image, a massive fleet of human vessels, sleek and dangerous, hiding in the asteroid fields of the Sol system. Ships the Council had never seen before, built in secret over centuries. "We're lifting the quarantine," Thex announced. "We're offering humanity full membership in the Galactic Council with voting rights, trade agreements, and territorial claims." "In exchange for what?" "Save us," Vex said simply. "Save everyone." Zara stared at the alien faces around the table. These beings had considered humanity beneath them for centuries. Now they were begging for help. "What's the catch?" she asked. "The phenomenon is accelerating," Synthesis Unit 7 replied. At current rates, it will reach the core worlds in 6 months. After that, it will take the rest of the galaxy within a year. Including Earth, Thex added quietly. Zara felt the weight of the decision settling on her shoulders. Her species had dreamed of joining the galactic community for centuries. Now they were being invited not as equals, but as saviors. I'll need to speak with Earth Command, she said finally. Of course, Thex replied. But Commander Chen, you should know something else. The phenomenon isn't random. It's intelligent. It's hunting us. And it's learning. The hologram flickered one final time, showing the edge of known space. There, at the very rim of the galaxy, something vast and dark was moving, growing. It's coming, Thex whispered, and we're running out of time. The war room beneath Colorado's Cheyenne Mountain had been built to withstand nuclear war. Now it buzzed with activity as humanity's greatest military minds processed the impossible situation. Admiral Sarah Martinez stood at the center of the chaos, her weathered face illuminated by dozens of holographic displays. Show me the data again, she commanded. The main display lit up with the Council's intelligence. Star systems blinking out of existence. Fleets vanishing without a trace. The expanding zone of nothingness that was consuming the galaxy piece by piece. Analysis? Martinez asked. General Harrison, head of Xeno Defense Command, stepped forward. It's not a weapon in any conventional sense. No energy signatures, no particle emissions. Whatever this is, it operates on principles we don't understand. The Council's tried everything, added Dr. Elena Vasquez, humanity's leading expert on alien technology. Dimensional shields, temporal barriers, quantum disruptors. Nothing even slows it down. Martinez nodded grimly. And they want us to succeed where they failed. They are desperate, Commander Chen said via hologram from the Council vessel. I've never seen aliens scared before. They are terrified. Good, Martinez replied coldly. Maybe now they'll understand what we've felt for 3 centuries. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the history. The first contact that had gone wrong when human diplomats had acted on instinct rather than protocol. The trade disputes that had escalated because humans negotiated with emotion instead of pure logic. The cultural misunderstandings that had led to the quarantine decision. What do we know about this thing? Martinez asked. Dr. Vasquez activated a display. The Council's calling it the Void. It doesn't destroy matter, it erases it. Complete removal from existence. No debris, no energy release, no traces left behind. Could it be a weapon? Asked General Harrison. Possibly, but if so, it's beyond anything we've ever imagined. The precision is incredible. It targets specific systems, specific planets, sometimes specific cities. It's selective. Hunting, Martinez murmured. The Council said it was hunting. Yes, but hunting what? The pattern doesn't make sense. It's not targeting military installations or population centers specifically. It seems almost random. Commander Chen's image leaned forward. There's something else. The Council's holding back information. I can tell. They know more than they are saying. Martinez wasn't surprised. Trust didn't come easily after 3 centuries of isolation. What's our tactical situation? The Shadow Fleet is ready, General Harrison reported. 200 vessels, all designed for asymmetric warfare against superior forces. We've got weapons the Council's never seen, tactics they've never encountered. And crews that think differently than any other species in the galaxy, Martinez added. The Shadow Fleet had been humanity's secret project for generations. Ships built with human ingenuity and desperation, designed to fight enemies they couldn't match conventionally. Stealth technology that didn't rely on traditional physics. Weapons that worked on principles of chaos rather than order. Most importantly, crews trained to think outside every box that existed. Admiral, Dr. Vasquez said hesitantly, there's something else. I've been analyzing the Council's data, and I think I see a pattern they miss. The main display shifted, showing progression of the void across the galaxy. Look at the timing. It's not random. It's learning. Each system it takes, it learns more about that species, their technology, their defenses, their psychology. That's why it's accelerating, Martinez realized. It knows how to defeat them now. Exactly. And that's why the Council's traditional approaches failed. They are predictable. Even their most advanced species think in logical, systematic ways. The Void can analyze and counter that. But not us, Commander Chen said from the display. We're the only species it hasn't studied. Yet, Martinez corrected. The moment we engage it, we lose that advantage. Then we better make the first shot count, General Harrison said grimly. Martinez studied the star charts, watching the steady advance of nothingness toward the core worlds. Toward Earth. Commander Chen, tell the Council we accept their offer. Full membership, full rights, full access to the technology and intelligence networks. And in return, we do what we do best. We break things. The hologram flickered as Chen nodded. I'll relay the message. But, Admiral, there's something else. The Council's evacuation protocols. They are planning to abandon entire sectors of the galaxy. Billions of lives. Martinez felt anger rise in her chest. They are running. Can you blame them? Dr. Vasquez asked. They've lost everything else. Yes, I can blame them, Martinez replied sharply, because running is what gets you killed. We learned that lesson a long time ago. The room fell silent again. Everyone knew the stories. The generation ships that had left Earth in secret, trying to escape the quarantine. The colonies that had been discovered and destroyed. The hard lesson that sometimes the only way out was through. Signal the fleet, Martinez commanded. All vessels to launch stations. We're going to war. Against what? General Harrison asked. Against the impossible, Martinez replied. Just like we always have. As the room erupted in activity, Martinez stared at the display showing the advancing void. Somewhere out there, something was hunting the galaxy's greatest civilizations. Something that had learned to defeat every species it encountered. But it had never encountered humans. The Nexus Prime space station had been the jewel of the Council's collective achievements. A massive ring of metal and crystal orbiting a binary star system, it had served as a diplomatic and scientific heart of galactic civilization for over 1,000 years. Now it was bait. Captain Jake Morrison watched the station through the bridge viewport of the UES Defiance, humanity's newest stealth destroyer. The Shadow Fleet had spread throughout the system, invisible to both Council sensors and whatever was coming for them. Contacts on long-range sensors reported Lieutenant Torres from the tactical station. Multiple signatures, but they're wrong. Morrison moved to the sensor display. The readings made no sense. Energy signatures that pulse like heartbeats, matter configurations that seemed to shift and change, and underneath it all, something vast and dark that the sensors couldn't quite define. The Void, he whispered. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the station. Communications Officer Park announced. It's Counselor Thex. The main screen flickered to life, showing the crystalline alien's face. Behind him, the station's command center buzzed with desperate activity. Captain Morrison, the phenomenon has entered the system. Our sensors show it's unlike anything we've encountered before. It's not just one entity, it's multiple forms working in perfect coordination. What kind of forms? Morrison asked. We're not sure. They seem to be constructed from the matter of consumed worlds. Ships, stations, even entire planets, reformed and repurposed. Morrison felt cold. The Void wasn't just destroying civilizations, it was using them. How long do we have? He asked. Estimated contact in 37 minutes, Thex replied. Captain, if your species has any miracles to offer, now would be the time. Morrison cut the transmission and turned to his crew. You heard the alien. Time to show them what humans can do. The next 20 minutes passed in tense silence as the Shadow Fleet maneuvered into position. Morrison had studied every available piece of data on the Void, and he'd noticed something the Council had missed. The entity was incredibly efficient, almost mechanically so. It approached each target using the optimal path, deployed the perfect counter for each defense, and eliminated resistance with minimal effort. That efficiency was its weakness. All vessels, this is Defiance Actual, Morrison broadcast on the encrypted channel. Remember, we're not trying to win. We're trying to confuse. Make it think. Make it react instead of act. The first signs of the void's approach appeared as spatial distortions near the system's edge. Reality seemed to bend and twist, and then ships began to emerge. But these weren't ships in any conventional sense. They were amalgamations of technology from dozens of species, fused together into impossible configurations that shouldn't have been able to function. "My God," whispered Torres. "Those are pieces of the Kithera defense fleet. And those hull sections, they are from the Zephyrian homeworld." Morrison watched in horror as more vessels emerged. The Void had indeed been learning, taking the best technology from each conquered species and incorporating it into its own forces. The enemy fleet was a graveyard of civilizations, made mobile and deadly. "All units, Phase 1, Morrison ordered. The Shadow fleet struck from 17 different directions simultaneously, not with conventional weapons, but with humanity's most chaotic innovations. Quantum scramblers that disrupted cause and effect, probability bombs that made unlikely events certain, temporal mines that created pockets of accelerated time. The Void's response was immediate and overwhelming. Its hybrid ships moved with impossible coordination, countering each attack with precision. But something was different. For the first time, the entity wasn't operating at perfect efficiency. It was adapting, reacting, learning. "Phase 2, Morrison commanded. The human vessel began what appeared to be a retreat, but it was actually a complex dance designed to draw the Void forces into a specific configuration. The alien ships pursued, their movement becoming more aggressive, more predictable. "They are taking the bait," Torres reported. "Enemy formations are shifting to intercept." Morrison waited until the last possible moment. "Phase 3. Hit them now." The trap was sprung. Hidden throughout the system, human vessels that had been masquerading as debris suddenly activated. The Void forces found themselves surrounded, not by superior firepower, but by pure chaos. Human weapons that worked on principles of randomness and impossibility. Attacks that came from impossible angles. Defenses that shouldn't have worked but did. For the first time since the crisis began, the Void was taking damage. "Sir, we're getting readings from the station," Park reported. "The Void's main presence is moving toward Nexus Prime." Morrison watched as something truly massive emerge from the spatial distortions. It wasn't a ship. It was a structure the size of a moon, constructed from the remains of countless worlds. At its center, something pulsed with dark energy. "That's the core," he realized. "The intelligence directing everything." "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," Park said. "It's not from the Council. It's from them." The main screen flickered, and suddenly Morrison was looking at something that made his mind recoil. It was a face, but not any face that had ever belonged to a living being. It was composed of features from every species the Void had consumed, constantly shifting and changing. "Humans," the entity said, its voice a chorus of the dead. "You interest us. Your patterns are unpredictable." "Good," Morrison replied. "We try to be. We have consumed 1,147 species. All followed logical patterns. All could be understood and overcome. You are different. Thanks for noticing." The face shifted, showing what might have been curiosity. "You fight without hope of victory. You employ strategies that reduce your own effectiveness. You sacrifice advantages for uncertainty. Why?" Morrison smiled grimly. "Because that's what makes us human. We wish to understand. We will preserve specimens of your species for study." "Like hell you will." The transmission cut off, and Morrison turned to his crew. "All vessels, final phase, everything we've got." The Shadow Fleet's true purpose was revealed. Every ship began broadcasting on frequencies that disrupted the Void's coordination. Every weapon fired in patterns designed to create maximum chaos. Every tactic employed principles of beautiful, destructive randomness. The Void reeled, its perfect efficiency shattered by the sheer impossibility of human warfare. But it was learning, and it was adapting. Admiral Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching the battle for Nexus Prime unfold across multiple displays. The Shadow Fleet had bought them time, but the cost was becoming clear. 7 ships lost, their crews vanished into the Void's expanding darkness. The entity was learning human tactics faster than expected. "Status report," she commanded. The Void's main core is adapting to our chaos protocols, reported Commander Singh, a tactical officer. It's starting to predict our unpredictable patterns. That's impossible, Martinez replied, but even as she said it, she knew it was true. The entity on the screen was doing something no other species had achieved in 3 centuries of conflict with humanity. It was learning to think like them. Admiral, came Commander Chen's voice over the comm. The Council's evacuation is complete. Nexus Prime is being abandoned. Martinez watched the massive space station power down, its lights going dark section by section. Millions of beings had called it home. Now it was just bait in a trap that might not work. What about the civilian populations in the affected sectors? She asked. The Council's written them off, Chen replied bitterly. They are calling it acceptable losses for the greater good. Like hell, Martinez muttered. Singh, redirect the Third Fleet to the Meridian system. If the Council won't protect their own people, we will. That will leave us undermanned for the main engagement, Singh warned. Then we'll have to be better than them with fewer ships, Martinez replied. That's what we do. The tactical display updated, showing human vessels racing toward doomed star systems while the Void's forces regrouped around their massive core ship. The entity was doing something new, something that made Martinez's blood run cold. So, we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the Void fleet, reported Lieutenant Harper from a sensor station. It's like they're charging for something big. Analysis? Unknown, but the power levels are off the charts. Whatever they are planning, it's going to make their previous attacks look like skirmishes. Martinez studied the readings. The Void had consumed the knowledge of 1,000 civilizations. It had access to technologies that shouldn't exist, weapons that could unmake reality itself. And now it was preparing to use them. Get me a line to Earth Command, she ordered. President Williams appeared on the secure channel, her face haggard from sleepless nights. Admiral, what's the situation? Bad and getting worse, Martinez replied. The Void is adapting to our tactics. It's learning to think like us. How is that possible? I don't know, but it's happening. We need to change the game entirely. Williams nodded grimly. What do you need? Authorization for Protocol Omega. The channel went silent. Protocol Omega was humanity's most desperate contingency plan, something they'd hoped never to use. It would mean abandoning every principle of warfare they'd ever held, every rule they created to limit the horrors of conflict. Are you certain? Williams asked finally. No, Martinez admitted. But I'm certain what happens if we don't try. Authorization granted. God help us all. The channel closed, and Martinez turned to her bridge crew. All hands, prepare for Protocol Omega implementation. This is not a drill. Across the human fleet, the order was received with grim understanding. They'd trained for this moment, but nobody had wanted it to come. Admiral, Singh said quietly, are we really going to do this? We're going to save the galaxy, Martinez replied. Whatever it takes. The Void's core ship pulsed with dark energy, and suddenly space itself began to tear. Reality rippled like water, and through the tears, Martinez could see the true horror of what they were facing. The entity wasn't just consuming matter and energy. It was consuming the very fabric of existence itself. My God, Harper whispered. It's unmaking space-time. All vessels, execute Protocol Omega, Martinez commanded. Authorization Alpha 77 Omega. Throughout the human fleet, ships began to change. Weapons that had been held in reserve activated, their power signatures unlike anything in the galaxy. These weren't weapons designed to destroy enemies. They were weapons designed to destroy the rules that enemies operated under. The first wave hit the Void's forces like a tsunami of impossibility. Human vessels fired weapons that violated causality, created effects that preceded their causes, and unleashed forces that shouldn't have been able to exist. The Void's perfect coordination shattered as its forces encountered attacks that broke the laws of physics themselves. But the entity was still learning, still adapting. Sir, the Void core is responding, Singh reported. Oh God, it's copying our Protocol Omega weapons. Martinez watched in horror as a massive alien structure began to pulse with the same impossible energies her fleet was using. The Void wasn't just learning human tactics. It was stealing the very essence of human innovation. It's not just intelligent, she realized. It's a perfect mirror. It can become anything it encounters. Then how do we fight something that can become us? Singh asked. Martinez stared at the growing chaos on the tactical display. The Void was using human weapons against human targets, employing human tactics with inhuman precision. It was becoming more human than human, and that was exactly what she'd been afraid of. By becoming something we've never been before, she said finally. Something even we don't understand. Admiral, what are you talking about? Martinez turned to her crew, seeing the fear in their eyes. I'm talking about crossing the line we drew for ourselves. The line between human and something else. On the display, the Void's core ship continued to grow, absorbing the energy of the battle, learning from every exchange. It was becoming the perfect predator, capable of matching any prey. But perfection, Martinez realized, was its own kind of trap. The silence in the command center was deafening. Every screen showed the same impossible sight. The Void's core ship, now the size of a small planet, hanging in space like a cancer on reality itself. It pulsed with stolen human technologies, each pulse sending ripples through the fabric of space-time. How many? Admiral Martinez asked quietly. 4 to 7 systems gone in the last 6 hours, Commander Singh reported. The Void isn't just consuming them anymore. It's erasing them from history. People are forgetting they ever existed. Martinez felt the weight of failure crushing down on her. Protocol Omega had been humanity's ultimate weapon, their final desperate gambit. The Void had stolen it, improved it, and turned it against them. Lieutenant Harper said hesitantly, We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's the President. Williams appeared on the screen, but she looked different. Older, somehow. Sadder. Admiral, we've been analyzing the Void behavior patterns. Dr. Vasquez has a theory. The scientist appeared alongside the President, her face filled with a mixture of excitement and terror. Admiral, we've been wrong about everything. The Void isn't a weapon or a natural phenomenon. It's a solution. A solution to what? To the problem of existence itself. Think about it. Every species that's ever lived has struggled with the same fundamental questions. Why do we exist? What's the point of consciousness? What happens when we die? Martinez felt a chill. You're saying it's trying to end suffering by ending everything. Not trying. Succeeding. The Void isn't destroying civilizations. It's offering them peace. Perfect, eternal peace. No more pain, no more loss, no more uncertainty. But that's not life, Martinez protested. No, Vasquez agreed. But it's not death either. It's something else. Something beyond both. The transmission flickered, and suddenly Martinez was looking at something impossible. The Void's core ship was opening, revealing its interior. Inside, she could see the remains of every species it had consumed, but they weren't dead. They were existing, peacefully, quietly, without struggle or suffering. It's offering us the same gift, Vasquez continued, the end of the human condition. No more war. No more pain, no more desperate struggles against impossible odds. Martinez understood now why the Council had been so afraid. The Void wasn't just a threat to their lives. It was a threat to the very concept of struggle, of growth, of the messy, chaotic process of existence itself. There's something else, Williams said. We've detected massive energy readings throughout the Sol system. The Void is coming for Earth. Through the viewport, Martinez could see the distortions beginning. Reality was bending, preparing for the arrival of something that existed outside the normal rules of space and time. All vessels, fall back to Earth orbit, she commanded. We're going home. The journey back to humanity's birth world was a race against the collapse of everything they'd ever known. Behind them, the Void's influence spread, consuming star systems and offering their inhabitants the gift of perfect peace. When they arrived at Earth, Martinez was amazed to see the planet unchanged. The blue marble still turned peacefully in its orbit, surrounded by the ancient quarantine stations that had protected it for 3 centuries. Why hasn't it taken Earth yet? Singh wondered, because Martinez realized it's saving us for last. It wants to understand us completely before it offers us peace. The Void's car ship materialized at the edge of the Sol system, its impossible bulk darkening the stars. From its surface, smaller vessels began to emerge, each one a perfect fusion of human and alien technology. "Admiral," Harper reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the Void." The screen flickered, and Martinez found herself looking at a face that was perfectly human except for the eyes. Those eyes held the knowledge of 1,000 dead civilizations. "Admiral Martinez," the entity said in a voice that sounded like her own, "we have studied your species extensively. You are remarkable in your capacity for suffering, yet you choose to continue existing. Why?" "Because the alternative is worse," Martinez replied. "Is it? We have shown you peace. We have shown you the end of struggle. Your own people have seen the gift we offer. Many have chosen to accept it." Martinez felt her heart break. "How many?" 4 to 7% of your species has requested integration. They are tired of fighting, tired of pain, tired of uncertainty. They want peace. And the rest? They want to continue struggling. They want to continue suffering. They want to remain human. Martinez looked around her bridge, seeing the faces of her crew. They were afraid, but they were also determined. They had chosen to remain themselves, whatever the cost. "What do you want from us?" she asked. "We want to understand. Your species is unique. Every other form of consciousness we have encountered eventually chooses peace over struggle. You are the first to choose suffering over serenity. Because that's what makes us human." "Yes, and that is why we need you." The words hit Martinez like a physical blow. "Need us? We have achieved perfect peace, perfect understanding, perfect existence. But we have lost something in the process. We have lost the ability to grow, to change, to become something new. We are perfect, but we are static. So you want to study us?" "No, we want to become you. We want to remember what it means to struggle, to suffer, to be gloriously, chaotically, impossibly alive." Martinez stared at the entity on the screen. "You're offering us a choice." "Yes, join us in perfection, or remain as you are and teach us be imperfect again." The silence stretched between them. Martinez looked at her crew, at the displays showing Earth turning peacefully in space, at the impossible alien ship that had consumed the galaxy. "How do we know you won't just take what you want and destroy us anyway?" "Because," the entity said, "we have learned that the most important things cannot be taken. They can only be given." Martinez closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the decision. Humanity had always been the last choice, the species everyone else considered too dangerous, too chaotic, too unpredictable. Now they were being asked to be the only choice. "Admiral," Singh said quietly, "what do we do?" Martinez opened her eyes and looked at the void entity. "We do what we've always done. We choose a hard path." She turned to her crew. "Send a message to the fleet. Tell them we're going to teach the universe how to be human again." The entity on the screen smiled with perfectly human lips. "We were hoping you would say that." And in that moment, Martinez realized that humanity's greatest weakness had always been their greatest strength. They were too stubborn to give up, too chaotic to be perfect, and too human to choose the easy path. The galaxy would never be the same. But then again, neither would humanity. And that was exactly the point.